It's my pleasure to be presenting to you this economic package of our tentative settlement with Stellantis. I hope this walkthrough helps explain and clarify some of the important and in some cases historic improvements to this collective agreement. In this presentation, I will outline what was negotiated across many different areas of priority for the union, including our stated 4 core priorities: pensions, wages, transition supports, and investment. But there are a lot of other key areas to note, and we'll go through each in turn. You should have with you a copy of the contract highlight brochure. Keep this handy. As we work through the presentation, I'll indicate which section of the brochure that I'm referring to. All right, let's get started. And we'll start on page 2, looking at contract term. After consecutive rounds of 4-year collective agreements in 2012 and 16, we've returned to a more regular contract length of 3 years, or 36 months, back in 2020. This agreement is for another 3-year term. It expires at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, September 20th, 2026. Let's now take a look at what we negotiated on pensions, our top priority, and for good reason. Workplace pensions in Canada have been under attack. Putting pensions and retirement security back on the national agenda requires governments, employers, and all of civil society to play a role. Our bargaining in the auto sector is just one piece of the puzzle, but know what we do here can influence the economy and politics in big ways. Pensions have been non-starter conversations with automakers everywhere since the 2008 and 2009 financial crisis. Coming into these negotiations, the objective was to improve retirement security for all of our members, for current members in the DB plan, for members in the hybrid plan, for less senior workers and new hires in the DC plan, and of course, improvements for our retirees. We've made gains for all of these groups, and I'll explain these changes each in turn. For active members currently enrolled in the defined benefit plan, those hired before September 24th, 2012, you'll see that we've negotiated an increase to the monthly basic benefit rate, also called the pension multiplier. Effective January 1st, 2024, the basic monthly benefit rate will increase by $5.60 per month per year of credited service for production workers at Stellantis, those who are in Class A, B, and C. For the trades, those in Class D, the basic benefit rate will increase by $6.60 from what is currently $81 to $87.60. Also, proportional increases are made to the special allowance or 30 and out pensions. This marks the first increase in the monthly benefit rate and 30 and out for members in 15 years, and it's long overdue. Now, pensions are a bit tricky to understand, so it's important we help explain what this all means. Those $5.60 and $6.60 increases translate into an additional $2,000 to $2,400 in pension income per year upon retirement. This is based on a member who retires with 30 years of credited service. Of course, this income grows larger the more years of credited service the member accrues, which is why we call this a pension multiplier. We can't underestimate the significance of this win for our members. It wasn't 15 years ago that Chrysler said they'd never do this again. Now they've done it, and we have opportunities to keep pushing this door open further. What's also important to understand is that this DB pension increase is 60 cents higher than the pattern negotiated at Ford. That extra 60 cents corrects a 15-year deficiency between the monthly benefits at Stellantis and Ford, another product of the financial crisis and Chrysler bankruptcy. Pensions are now fully aligned across the D3, another important win. Okay, that was for members in the DB plan. Let's now look at changes to members in the hybrid plan, those who were hired on or after September 24th, 2012, and before September 19th, 2016. Now, the hybrid plan provides a monthly DB benefit that is essentially half of what the traditional legacy plan provides. Those members will receive a basic benefit increase of $2.50 per month in classes A to C and $3 for those in Class D. This is already fully aligned with Ford, and there was no historic discrepancy. Since half of the hybrid plan is a DB portion and the other half is a DC portion, Stellantis will also increase its share of contributions to the DC portion by 10 cents per hour for all class codes. This is also a milestone achievement. It's the first time since the hybrid plan was constructed that there has been an upward adjustment for members in the plan. For those in the DB plan, the committee also negotiated a 100% joint and survivor benefit option, which becomes effective on October 1st, 2025. And in another major win for Stellantis, members will now be able to take the commuted value of their DB pension prior to retirement if they choose to do so. There are financial rules governing how this works, how old you must be, and there are tax implications for members who draw out this pension money. So please be sure to consult a financial advisor if you plan to exercise this option. Now we'll look at the improvements for members in the defined contribution or DC plan, those hired on or after September 19th of 2016. In 2020 bargaining, Unifor and FCA committed to explore the transition of members out of the DC plan and into a more stable and beneficial pension plan known as the College of Applied Arts and Technology, or CAT, DB Plus plan. Despite best efforts by the union, these talks stalled. We entered these negotiations with a new determination. We didn't need to discuss this with the company anymore. It was a core demand to make this transition happen, and we were successful. And this is good news for our members and their pension security. The way this transition into the CAT DB Plus plan will work is as follows. First, and starting on January 1st of 2024, contribution levels going into the current DC plan will change for the better. Unifor members will only be required to contribute 4% of annual earnings into the DC plan, up to a maximum of 2080 hours. Stellantis, however, will increase their contribution share to 7%. That brings the total contribution amount to 11%. What this means is that for those members who are already contributing the extra 1% voluntary portion, they won't have to do that any longer. Over the contract term, and in this example, they'll pay $2,700 less while receiving the exact same total contribution. For those who didn't contribute the voluntary portion, they'll contribute the same amount they are now, but also receive the increase to 11%. And with the significant upward improvements to our wages, which I will explain shortly, these increased contributions by the employer rise substantially, directly benefiting pension outcomes. I encourage you to read through these examples in the highlight brochure and ask questions later on. Now, after that contribution change is made, and as of January 1st, 2025, these members in the DC plan will then transfer into the CAT DB Plus pension plan. Nothing changes regarding their contributions, and members will retain every single penny they've accumulated so far in their DC plan account. Now, I realize this is a big change. The timeline for this transition doesn't happen for another 15 months. In that time, and rest assured, a lot of information will be circulated to members. There will also be many opportunities to attend information sessions that explain the plan, its benefits, and what it means for you. For those at the ratification meeting, there are representatives from CAT who are available to answer any questions that you may have. What I can say is that without a doubt, this provides a better retirement outcome for our members. The CAT pension plan provides DB-style benefits, including a predictable lifetime pension. Based on the funding status of the plan, it provides inflation enhancements, no-cost survivor benefits, among a long list of other benefits. It's also a not-for-profit plan, meaning that all of the financial gains will be redirected back into the plan itself to benefit our members. Our members will be well served by the DB Plus plan for years to come. Now, I've shared with you the improvements for active members in the DB, hybrid, and DC plan. The question that remains is, what about our retirees? The folks that helped build Chrysler Corporation, and now Stellantis, and built our union, who are still fighting members of the Unifor family. We've seen over the past 15 years, this is the most difficult group to negotiate for. The demands we table on retiree income security generate the greatest resistance from the companies. At Ford, this was the very last issue on the bargaining table before we reached a deal. And at GM, it was one of 3 outstanding issues that led to our strike. At Stellantis, the company simply said no. They were not going to deliver. Heading into 2023, we approached this question on what to do for retirees not with a single, narrow demand, but with a framework. we said that the deal cannot amount to a single one-time payment. It cannot be a simple token gesture. It had to capture the diversity of our retiree base and not single out some groups instead of others. Lastly, whatever we did had to create a new mechanism that would allow us to bargain for future contracts. At the end of it all, we did construct a new model, and it's a uniquely Canadian model. It's called the Universal Healthcare Allowance and specifically targets Unifor retirees. It's a special quarterly payment that's paid to all current retired workers in the Legacy DB plan, those in the plan that are retired prior to October 1st of this year. The payments will help offset rising costs that retirees face. Over the life of the contract, there will be 12 quarterly installments that begin in the fourth quarter of this year. Those that retired prior to October 1, 2008 will receive a $200 quarterly payment. Those retired between October 1, 2008 and September 30th, 2016 will receive a $150 quarterly payment, and those who retired after October 1st, 2016 and before October 1st of 2023, they will receive a $125 payment. This is an equitable distribution based on the current pension rates for retirees in these groups, and something that we can absolutely try to renegotiate and improve on in future contracts. Now, there is one additional pension-related item that was dealt with in negotiations that's specific to Stellantis, and that's the recovery of some past credited pension service that was lost for certain groups of DB plan members during various periods of layoff. Members affected by this will see a full or partial restoration of that lost credited service, another big win for our members. You'll see more information on this and who qualifies in the highlight package. Let's take a look at our second core priority issue, the wage package. We refer to this priority as a package rather than just wages because there are a lot of elements that factor into our compensation. The package includes a productivity and quality bonus, a COLA fold-in, general wage increases in each year of the agreement, a special skilled trades adjustment in years 1 and 3, and our cost of living allowance that will be reactivated over the course of this deal. I'll explain each of these in turn. But before we get into it, I also want to clarify some confusion in the media over our pattern deal with Ford and the tentative deal that our UAW sisters and brothers have bargained south of the border. I want to raise this so that folks better understand not only are the numbers not directly comparable, but there are major structural differences between our two unions and our collective agreements. The contract term, for instance, is one important difference. We've negotiated a 3-year collective agreement. Our wage package carries us over a 3-year term or 36 months. With Ford, the UAW has negotiated a contract term of nearly 5 years, or 56 months to be exact. Any of the headline wage proposals showing up in the news have to be measured over these two different time frames. Now, to be clear, it is very important that the UAW members win a record contract. It's important to Canadian auto workers as it's better to be aligned rather than have our American counterparts fall behind. A lot of commentators mistakenly assume that the Canadian and US contracts are the same or similar, and that our compensation structure is the same, and they are not. Our wages are higher, in some cases significantly higher. Our health costs are lower. Our pension benefits are greater. And in the US, the UAW is fighting hard to eliminate wage tiers, including at Stellantis Mopar operations that simply don't exist in Canada. So with that context, I'll share with you what we've done. Let's start with the bonus. Each full-time employee who is active following ratification will receive a one-time $10,000 productivity and quality bonus. You will see this spelled out in the brochure, along with the qualification requirements for our members. Those on the active roll and those who are on leave who performed work for the company in this calendar year will receive the bonus. Members on parental, maternity, and adoption leave who performed work at any point during the last 3 years will also receive the bonus. As well, for Stellantis members who receive a grow into retirement payment based on specific qualifying rules, which you can read, they'll also receive a $5,000 bonus. This is significant and the largest P&Q bonus the union has ever negotiated. The next item is our COLA fold-in. Now, there may be some of you who have no idea what this is. We haven't done this since 2008. Historically, we've negotiated that a share of our existing COLA float gets added to our prevailing base rate. Following ratification, $1.21 of our current COLA float will be added to our prevailing base rates. What this means is that when the general wage increases we've negotiated are applied to a higher rate, the increases are even larger. This will have big benefits for our members, and this is why. Once the fold-in is applied, members will receive what is an extraordinary 10% general wage increase. It's effective September 25th and will be paid retroactively to members at Stellantis. In year 2, there will be an additional 2% wage increase, followed by another 3% wage increase in year 3. In a few more slides, I'll show you how all of this translates into actual dollars per hour adjustments. But what's clear is that this is the single largest general wage increase negotiated in Unifor and CAW history. Even in years like 1999, that's been widely considered the high watermark for jobs and production in Canada, our union negotiated 3-year wage increases of 3%, 3%, and 3%. This agreement outpaces them all. For our trades, there was even more done. The bargaining committee clearly acknowledged the shortage of trades and the difficulty in attracting and retaining trades in our auto plants. Failing to address this reality would have had consequences on future production. So in light of that, we've negotiated 2 additional wage adjustments for the trades. A 2.75% adjustment in year 1, on top of the 10% general wage increase, and 2.5% in year 3, which is on top of the 3% general wage increase. What's most notable, and a clear breakthrough in these negotiations, is that the committee successfully negotiated a reactivation of our quarterly cost of living allowance, or COLA. It's been effectively frozen since 2008, except for a single adjustment we get in the final quarter of every contract. This single adjustment was better than no adjustment, but it wasn't true COLA. Now, starting in the 4th quarter of 24, our COLA provision will be reactivated. Members will begin to receive COLA adjustments in every quarter for the remainder of the contract. They will receive 7 adjustments in total. This is in addition to our general wage increases, our fold-in, special adjustments, and other improvements. In order to make this easier for the company to swallow and provide them some degree of cost certainty, we've agreed to cap the total COLA float by the end of the contract at $2. Now, this isn't what we wanted, but if it's the only condition to have us kickstart COLA, then it's a good trade-off. Now, for those who aren't clear what COLA is, it's a mechanism to protect our wages against rising inflation. You'll see more information on this in the brochure. COLA was a key driver of high wages in the auto sector going back to the 1940s. As cost of living went up, COLA would generate new income for us paid on every hour worked, so that the wage increases we'd bargain were true wage increases and not affected by rising prices. In place of COLA, and to help members deal with rising costs, we negotiated a special inflation protection payment of $2,000 that was paid in every December, but never in the first year of the collective agreement. COLA has been gone for so long that a lot of folks started to think that this inflation protection payment was actually a Christmas bonus, but it wasn't. It was an offset. Now that COLA is back, the protection payments are gone, and the benefits to members are greater. For members in the wage progression who aren't eligible yet for COLA, they'll receive a share of the COLA fold-in. That's the equivalent of between $1,700 and $2,400 in annual income for in-progression members just from the fold-in alone. We forecast that by the end of the contract, based on a 2.5% rate of inflation, quarterly COLA payments will have grown to $1.61 per hour. That's the equivalent of more than $3,300 in standard work year, and that will continue to grow over time for our members. Of course, COLA also applies to other forms of pay, like vacation pay and holiday pay and jury duty. This compounding benefit is lost when we get a one-time payment. COLA is maybe the most significant part of this new wage package and will certainly serve us well for years to come. Now, with all that said, let me try to explain how this all fits together. You will see some examples for a full-rate production worker and tradesperson in the brochure. You'll see that the current wage in this example of a production worker is $37.33 per hour. At ratification, $1.21 of the COLA float is added into the base rate, bringing the rate to $38.54. And then, the 10% wage increase is applied. In the first pay period following ratification, the production worker base rate grows from $37.33 to $42.39, and the COLA float reduces to 5 cents. In the second year of the agreement, this member will receive the second general wage increase of 2% on September 22nd, bringing their base wage up to $43.23. Then in December, COLA reactivates. Based on a 2.5% rate of inflation, we've projected that this first COLA hit will add 5 cents, bringing the COLA float to 10 cents. Now with COLA reactivated, there will be a series of additional adjustments over the course of 2025, starting in March. You'll see that in March, our forecasts show a slight reduction in the COLA float because in this quarter, inflation growth is expected to fall. This happens occasionally, and is reflected in the COLA rate. But you'll also see that by September, the COLA float will rise to $1.10. That's then followed by the third general wage increase of 3%. In the final year of the contract, there are 2 more COLA adjustments, bringing the float to our forecasted $1.61, and at that point, we re-enter bargaining. I just want to be extra clear that none of these rates include shift premiums or overtime premiums. If you are currently receiving premium pay, these are in addition to the base rates that I've just mentioned. This also does not include the $10,000 productivity bonus you'll receive in year 1. This is a major adjustment to the wage package with significant benefits for members. What this means is that over 3 years, the production base rate grows by nearly 20%, and the trades rate, including the 2 special trades adjustments, grows by 25%. In fact, the trades base rate is pushed above $50 per hour right at ratification, and now is among the highest base rates for trades in Ontario. It's an excellent outcome for our members. Now there's another part to the wage package that's important, and that's to do with the wage progression, which is part of the new hire program for members hired on or after September 24th of 2012. For those who may not recall, the new hire program established in 2012 was a response to company demands for severe concessions in the wake of the global financial and auto sector crises. In every round of bargaining since 2012, the union's been working to eliminate differences in wages and benefits for this group of workers and those before them. One part of the new hire program is the 8-year wage progression. Under this progression, it takes a new hire 8 years to reach the prevailing rate of pay. At one point, it took more than 10 years. Today, and upon ratification, the new hire wage progression will be cut in half to 4 years. And the wages at each step of the progression will be improved, increasing the pay for our members. But there are even more significant benefits than that. Cutting the wage progression in half means that anyone with between 4 and 7 years of seniority, and there are many at Stellantis, will automatically be moved to the top rate of pay, which is for an average production worker, $42.39 per hour. That means for a Stellantis worker with 6 years of seniority, for example, they will jump from $33.59 to $42.39 an hour. That's an immediate 26% wage increase. You'll see this in the table, how the new wage progression will be structured with higher rates at each step. To better explain what this means for our members in the progression, we've also included a table in the brochure. All you have to do is identify what is your current seniority today, find yourself in that first column, and then following the table from left to right. This table will show you how your wage changes at each interval, whether you move up in the grid on your anniversary date or because of a negotiated wage increase. I'll put a finer point on this as an example. A current production worker with 1 year and 2 years of seniority is right now earning a wage that is 69% of the prevailing base rate, or $25.75. They will, at ratification, start earning a wage of $33.06. That's a more than $7 per hour wage increase immediately. and that will be backdated retroactively to September 25th. That's an additional $15,000 in income per year for that member moving forward. Then on their next anniversary date, their wage jumps to $36.45. Over the next 2 years, their wage will rise to $41.84. And then on their 4th anniversary date, they will hit the top rate of pay, which will be $44.52. Altogether, and compounded, this represents a 3-year, 73% wage increase. Of course, there are other changes to the new hire program that benefit our members. This is just a simple list of what the committee was able to negotiate in this round. Today, a member will have access to legal services and the dependent scholarship program after 1 year. They will receive COLA after 4 years instead of 8, but still benefit from the COLA fold-in. They'll now receive supplemental unemployment benefits after 1 year and will no longer be subject to a sub-step-down rate of 50%. Lastly, the vacation with pay plan for those with between 3 and 10 years of seniority goes back to where it was before 2012. All of these significant and necessary improvements. Now, this is just a snapshot of how the vacation table has changed. To be clear, this is a change that only applies to members hired on or after September 24th, 2012. There is no change to vacation for those hired prior to that. Now, to round out the wage package are improvements we've made to those in part-time temporary jobs. For starters, each eligible TPT will receive a bonus of $4,000. It's the highest bonus ever paid to TPTs. Additionally, and because the TPT wages are tied to the start rate of the progression scale, those wages will be affected by the COLA fold-in and the general wage increases. So a TPT earning a wage of $24.26 right now will immediately move to $29.67 and rising to $31.16 by 2025. What this means is that by next year, there won't be a single uniform member at any auto plant across Canada making less than $30 an hour. That is unlike anywhere else in North America, and it's an excellent outcome for our members. So far, we've talked about our pension gains and we've talked about our wage package improvements, the 2 top priorities of our 2023 bargaining. Now we'll talk about priority number 3, supporting our members through the EV transition. You'll see this reflected in the brochure. The EV shift is happening across Unifor facilities, not just at Stellantis. Many of our workplaces, whether fully or partially, have or will retool for new production. There is always uncertainty that comes with such a massive transformation. We entered negotiations with a commitment to ensure that our members at Windsor and Brampton are sufficiently protected during the retooling period, that no one gets left behind. What we negotiated was a package of special transition measures. These measures will be in effect during the upcoming retool period for Brampton and up to 24 months, although the company has committed to discuss extending supports if an extension is required. This package of supports includes members receiving the income maintenance plan after only 1 year of seniority instead of 5, that any EI clawback members must pay to the government will be reimbursed by the company, that employer contributions to the DC plan or the new CAT pension plan will continue during the retooling, that vacation week qualifiers will be prorated so that members don't lose out on any vacations when they return, and that the company will endeavor to retain all current skilled trades and apprentices at work during the retool period. Now, since at Windsor, the situation is a bit different, because the retool work is happening right now. We've made special accommodations for those members. Those workers will receive the benefits of the EI clawback repayment and the vacation protections, but they will also receive a special payment of $240 per week to offset the lost benefits of these retool supports. Now, outside of these special retool provisions, the unions also approach negotiations looking to improve our income security programs for everyone. As a result, the committees negotiated an overall increase to the sub-replacement rate, increasing from 65% to 70%. This ensures that if a member is on EI and receiving only a portion of their regular weekly earnings, the company will top them up to 70% of their regular amount. In addition, and as I said earlier, the step-down rate of 50% for members is eliminated. Sub will now be paid at 70% for the full duration. All full-time employees will receive sub after 1 year instead of 3. The sub-credit schedule has been revised and improved for members hired after 2009, with a new minimum baseline of 36 weeks or the regional EI maximum. And to be clear, it remains the same for those hired prior to 2009. And at Stellantis, we negotiated an even more remarkable benefit. Now under the sub-plan, eligible members will start each new layoff with their maximum credit units based on date of hire and seniority. Unifor members no longer have to accrue the credits for sub. This will be automatically regenerated for you, so you have access to the maximum number of weeks. This will especially help our members at Brampton during their retool period, but all members as well moving forward. This is the first and most significant change made to the sub program in years. The last of our core priority items is investment, and I'll share with you what's been done. For starters, the company has agreed to renew its commitment to no closures of our facilities over the life of the contract. And the company has confirmed significant investments in each of our facilities. That includes the $1.89 billion transformation of the Windsor assembly plant to continue Pacifica production, but also install a new Stella Large platform for battery electric, plug-in hybrid vehicles, and ICE vehicles. This includes the expected return of the third shift by 2025, and employment levels rising to 4,700. For Brampton, the company has confirmed in writing a new $1.3 billion investment to install its Stella Medium platform that will build both battery electric and gas-powered vehicles. The company has also confirmed that this first vehicle on that line will be the next generation Jeep Compass, with Brampton cited as the North American lead producer. This plant transformation also includes the insourcing of stamping, welding, and battery packing operations. With an expected retool of 24 months, the company expects a return of the third shift in 2026 and plant headcounts estimated at nearly 2,400 workers. And for Etobicoke Casting, the company has confirmed $34 million in new investments and maximum utilization of die-cast equipment and floor space. The company plans to insource new work in oil pans and front covers, as well as transition to electrification with battery tray cast beams. Headcount at ECP is expected to rise to 275 jobs by 2026. So those were the details related to the union's 4 core priorities heading into talks. On each measure, the committee has delivered in a big way. On various key items like wages, pensions, and others, the agreement is historic, and there have been notable improvements to Stellantis-specific issues. But despite those 4 items being of critical importance, there are a number of other important changes and improvements made that I want to share. That includes a significantly improved health benefit package. Your benefits committee made major gains in this area, and you'll see these detailed each individually in the brochure. These include a few notable highlights, including the elimination of the health care allowance that members have had to pay on each paycheck. This equates to about $375 per year. And now effective January 1st, 2024, that allowance will be eliminated for good. That money goes back into members' pockets. This is an important win for our members and long overdue. In addition, you'll see improvements to vision and dental care, with dental care coverage now available during layoff just as healthcare benefits. Legal services and dependent scholarship benefits in retirement for post-2012 hires who are aged 55 with 10 years of service. Physiotherapy per visit benefits have doubled, and the doctor referral requirement is waived. The maximum for glucose monitoring systems and regular GMS will increase almost threefold to $4,000, and medical marijuana coverage will expand and now align with Ford. There are many other benefit improvements that you'll see. This is as rich and inclusive a package of benefit improvements the union has ever been able to negotiate. Also, for those hired on or after September 24th, 2012, the company has agreed to a union proposal to direct the existing per-hour contributions for retirement healthcare and dental benefits into a new employee life and health trust. This trust will better ensure that monies being set aside by the employer will actually be used to provide these members and future hires with health benefits in their retirement. Employer contributions will now commence when a member reaches 4 years of seniority. Now, for Stellantis members who were hired on or after May 4th, 2009, and before September 24th, 2012, and who have already been receiving company contributions into an individual savings account, you will keep those accumulated savings, and you'll be given a one-time option to have future contributions moved into the new trust. More information on the trust and benefit provisions will be provided to members in the near future. A lot of work was undertaken by our various master subcommittees, and you'll also find highlight reports from those tables in this brochure. At the skilled trades table, the companies agreed to hire up to 150 apprentices, among other gains. At the plant operations table, we've got the company to agree to reinstate our 110-day language following the elimination of the world-class manufacturing charter. We've also got the company to commit to provide workers 24-hour notice of shift cancellation for Saturdays. If that notice isn't given, workers will receive 4 hours straight time call-in pay. In health and safety, union reps will be trained in mental health first aid, and the union will participate in various EV-related occupational safety initiatives. And there are other improvements on EFAP as well as equity. Now, to close things off, just a couple of other important items to note. In the brochure, you'll see the union has negotiated more paid time off for members, including 2 new paid holidays. This includes a paid holiday for Family Day in both Ontario and Alberta, as well as a paid holiday for the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation on September 30th, whenever that day falls on a weekday. Now, for members at the Mississauga Parts Depot who already get Family Day off, a different additional paid holiday will be provided. Also, and importantly, the union's extended bereavement leave from 4 to 5 days for immediate family members. Lastly, for those who are considering retirement, we've negotiated one-time $50,000 lump sum incentives for up to 385 retirements across production and trades, as well as PDCs, OC&E, and security. The packages will be made available in 3 windows between 2024, 2025, and 2026, with details on timing still to be determined. Also, worth noting is that the companies agreed that any unused packages are transferable between sites and within classifications. Production packages are transferable to other production workers, and trades packages are transferable to other trades workers. I know this was a lot of information to take in, and I hope I provided some clarity on the outcomes, the historic significance of the gains we made, and the reasons behind our negotiating decisions. Without a doubt, we've met our core priorities in this round of talks, and we've delivered on many Stellantis-specific issues raised by our members. And it's not a stretch to suggest that this 2023 collective agreement is a milestone agreement for our union and for Canadian auto workers. This follows a very strong pattern for the industry moving forward. To recap, we improved the DB pension plan for the first time in 15 years. We secured a DB-style pension for current DC members and future hires. We bargained the highest general wage increases in Unifor and CAW history, along with the highest trades adjustments we've ever seen. This deal marks the first substantial adjustment to sub and income security in a very long time. We bargained the first targeted retiree allowance since peak COLA was introduced. We have now almost completely harmonized work standards for new hires with our legacy members. We've made groundbreaking changes on income security to help members navigate the path through EV retools. And to top it off, we've improved wages for part-time temps to nearly $30 an hour. On the whole, this is a remarkable collective agreement that leaves no one behind. I hope the information proves useful as you continue to assess the deal and cast your vote.